Today I want to show you this card. So obviously from the front, it's the normal Christmas card, but then when you open it up, you've got a Christmas tree inside that kind of pops up. It's quite simple, no dies are needed. For this, obviously for the front I've used a die, but the actual Christmas tree mechanism you don't need a die for. So yeah, and then you've got space on the back to write, so you've got lots of space there, and it folds down, fits in an envelope for a 5x7 card. So I will take you through the papers I've used today. I've used the Holly Spriggs paper pad that is on Amazon. It's also available on Etsy as well, but I've used the Amazon pad. And then this mirror card is a rainbow mirror card, and it is from DRK Crafts. So if you use my code Louise Makes all in one word, you'll get 5% off your order. And then on the front here, I have used a die from In Love Art Shop. So if you use my code ICE30 before the end of January 2025, you will get yourself 30% off. So I think that is everything I need to tell you about. Yeah, it is. So let's get into it. This card, you're going to need a piece of base card that is 7x10. So basically a 5x7 card blank is what you're going to have. You're going to score it halfway at 5 inches and just fold it in half. So you're making yourself a 5x7 card blank. If you already have one, just use that. If not, you can make yourself one easily out of a bit of card. So that is that piece. And then the other thing you need, now I've done this out of well, it's not really my mat card, but I would use something that isn't your base card because you're making a Christmas tree. So ideally, you really want to go green. Obviously, if you want to go for a different colour, you can. So you're going to need, in total, you kind of need 2 squares that are 4.5 inches by 4.5, and you're going to cut them both in half diagonally. Of that, you only need 3 triangles. You don't need 4. Okay, so you will end up with an excess triangle. If you don't want to end up with an excess triangle, then what I suggest you do is cut yourself out one piece that is 4.5 by 4.5, cut that in half diagonally, and then take one of your triangles, say this was the card you're cutting it out of, lay this onto the corner of your card, draw a line, and just cut that corner off. That's what I would do if you don't want to end up with excess, like a triangle you don't need. Unless you're making 2 cards at a time, in which case, happy days. Then what we want to do is we're going to go and put this onto our scoreboard, and I'm going to line up the long flat edge with the top of the scoreboard, and I'm going to line the point up. Now, because I've marked mine, it makes it a bit easier. I'm going to line it up with one of the scores, and we're just going to score all 3 in half like that. Okay, so that's what you want. You want all 3 to be scored in half. So I'm going to go ahead now and score these other 2. So you've got yourself 3 triangles, all like that. So I'm going to put those to one side. We're going to start with this, deal with this bit first. So on the back and the front and the inside, in total you need 4 matte pieces that are 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and then you're going to need 3 pattern pieces that are 4.5 by 6.5, and 1 white piece that's 4.5 by 6.5. So I have cut out, that's a matte piece I'm using for the front, and you'll see in a minute I'm going to do something slightly different with that, and that's the pattern piece for it. Then I've got my 2 pieces for inside, and I've also got my white piece for the back. So I'm going to go ahead now and just stick these 3 down. And then on the front, I think I'm going to have an Oh Holy Night and maybe some foliage coming out from outside of it. But I'm going to deal with that at the end, I think, because I'm probably going to use silicone glue and I don't want it to be getting squished. So your triangles that you've got, you want to go ahead and arrange them so that they are the height of your card, but they're kind of evenly spaced. I would bring them in a little bit so not completely the height, but something around like that would be good. And then what you want to do is stick all 3 together. I would definitely, I mean, if you want to have the layers, you could not stick them together, but I think that I'm going to stick them together just to avoid any problems later on. They'll be stronger as well, because if you stick them together as well, you've only got to stick in, for the next bit, you only need to stick in 2 springs rather than like 3 individual springs. So I think we will just go with this. So I'm just going to measure down and add some glue, and off we go. Okay, so we've got our 3 triangles stuck together. So now we just want to add something. So obviously I want it stuck flat. It's at the moment standing up pretty nicely as it is, but we just want to add in like a little wedge like this that we can stick behind here that will just prop it up, so that then it won't, if these are a bit thinner, they're not going to fold flat or fold out, and you've got something that, you know, is going to prop it up. So this is approximately, it's just over 1 inch, but any kind of strip you've got, the width, like the height of it doesn't really matter. The width needs to be 3.5. So I've got one piece here that's 3.5. And then all we're going to do, I'm not even going to open up my scoreboard fully because I don't need to. We are going to score it at 1/2 inch, 1.5 inches, 2 inches and 2.5 inches. Okay, and then all we need to do then is just go ahead, and the 1/2 inch tab is going to be a mountain. Then we've got another mountain at the 1.5. Then we've got a valley, and then we've got a mountain. And then all we need to do is add some glue or tape on the 1/2 inch tab. And then we're going to turn that round like that, fold it in, fold that on top, and you make yourself a little wedge. If you go over like I have, just give it a trim. It doesn't matter too much, although it might impede the mechanism if you're not careful. So there we go, there's my little wedge. So then we're going to go ahead, I'm just going to put these straight in the middle here, and then mount the tree onto it. We just need to make sure that the whole thing does actually fold in half, because you can get quite bulky, especially when you're using like mirror card like this. You can end up with quite a big thickness, so you do need to be a bit careful. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick these into place. Okay, so as you saw, I just closed up the card there just to make sure that it fitted. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to not use Yoo-hoo for this bit, just because I'm putting it onto mirror card, and I'm a bit concerned that I might end up messing up the surface of the mirror card if I use Yoo-hoo. So I'm going to go ahead and add some red tape onto the top of my little wedges. And then I'm going to go ahead, take off the backing of the tape. Any little excess that's gone a little bit too far, I'm going to fold that over on top of itself. And then I'm going to bring this in, and I'm going to do one side at a time because I'm using red tape. I do not want to get that, wrong. So I'm just going to put that in, fold that on top like that, open it up, and then we're going to do the same on the other side. So take the backing off, and then I'm going to fold it in half onto the tree like that. Now this here is really wodgy. Okay, so that's really wodgy. The rest of it is fine, but that bit's really wodgy. And then when you open it up, you've got your tree. Now one thing you might want to do, because you can actually see those wedges, is you might want to make sure you use maybe a different colour. I tried to make mine white because this was white based, but actually they stand out quite a bit. So it might be that you want to do a slightly better mix of colours maybe. But yeah, it's okay. I mean, when it stood up on the, because it's going to be like that on the mantelpiece, so then you don't really see it quite so well. So then what we want to do is go ahead and add some something on the front just to make it look like a Christmas tree. Okay, so I wanted to decorate on here and I wanted it to be flat. I've just hit gold dust. These are some very old peel-offs that I've had for a very long time. And as you can see, I've literally not used hardly any of them. But for what I want here, they are perfect. So I'm going to go ahead now and decorate up my tree using these peel-offs. Okay, so they ended up not being as perfect as I first imagined, but they're okay. I mean, at least it gives them a bit of something. Yeah, so that's fine. It's fine. So then on the outside here, I was going to do an Oh Holy Night, or I might find a Merry Christmas to go on there. Let me see what I can find. Okay, so I've decided that on the inside here, I'm going to put one of these Merry Christmas. This is from a very long time ago. Simply Creative Christmas Chunky stickers. I don't think they still have these, but they're really cool. So they are on a foam pad, and what I might do is I'm going to peel the little foam pad off and just stick them straight down, because I don't want them to be, I mean, they're really quite chunky because they're card, but I don't need them to be any more raised up than that. So I'm just going to take that off, and then that's going to stick on there, and that'll work fine because I have already got I've already got quite a bit of chunk anyway in the middle there, so it's not like it's really going to stand out. So we're going to go ahead and stick this down. And then on the front, I changed my mind and I've gone for this Merry Christmas tree, Merry Christmas greeting. And this is also from In Love Art Shop, so that code that I mentioned earlier still applies. So that's going to go on there. And then I've just found these, and these are actually from, I think I ordered these from China. Or Amazon. No, I think it must have been Amazon. But I just thought it might be quite nice to have a little one poking out there. Maybe a little one poking out the bottom here. And then there's also in that same set there was a Christmas tree, so I thought, I don't know if I can maybe squeeze that in or leave that out. I'm not sure. I might leave the tree out, might just do those like that. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick these down. So there we have our finished card. So you've got your Merry Christmas on the front, you open it up, and then you've got your little tree on the inside, and obviously it stands up nicely, and then you've got space to write on the back. So there you go. I'm sure you can decorate your tree better than I have, but I've got a bit of a headache, so you know what, it'll do for now. So yes, I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.